January 7th, 2024. Salzburg, Austria. 7:42 p.m. The greatest defender who ever lived stopped breathing. But this isn't just a story about death. This is a story about a man who played an entire World Cup semi-final with his arm in a sling, who won the Ballon d'Or twice as a defender, who stopped Johan Cruyff's total football and became king. And here's the twist you won't believe. When Franz Beckenbauer died 2 years ago today, the throne of German football didn't just go empty. It disappeared. Because nobody will ever play the game the way he did again. He didn't tackle. He didn't destroy. He created. He invented a position that didn't exist. He won the World Cup as a player, then won it again as a manager. Before I reveal the insane moment, he dislocated his shoulder and refused to leave the pitch. You need to subscribe to Cyberboot. Because what you're about to witness in the next 13 minutes is not just football history, it's the story of Der Kaiser, the man who turned defense into art. Today marks 2 years since Franz Beckenbauer died, and Germany is still mourning its king. Welcome back to Cyberboot, where we don't just remember football legends, we honor the players who built the sport. The innovators, the kings, the ones who changed everything. Today is January 7th, 2026. Exactly 2 years since the world lost Franz Beckenbauer. If you're under 40, you might not have seen him play. But if you're German, you were raised on his legend. If you're a defender, you play the position he invented. On January 7th, 2024, at 78 years old, Franz Beckenbauer passed away at his home in Salzburg, Austria. Within hours, Bayern Munich's stadium, the Allianz Arena, turned red. Not the usual red, a memorial red. And 75,000 fans lined up in the freezing January cold to lay flowers at a statue. Not just of a footballer, of an emperor. Because Franz Beckenbauer wasn't called Der Kaiser as a joke. He was called the Emperor because he ruled the pitch. With elegance, with vision, with a style that made defending look like ballet. But here's what makes Beckenbauer different from every other defensive legend. He didn't just stop attacks, he started them. He invented the Libero, the sweeper who plays behind the defensive line, but attacks through midfield. Before Beckenbauer, defenders stayed back. After Beckenbauer, defenders became playmakers, and by the time he retired, he'd won. The World Cup as a player, 1974. The World Cup as a manager, 1990. 2 Ballon d'Ors as a defender, 1972, 1976. 3 consecutive European Cups, 1974, 1975, 1976. But stats don't tell the full story. Because Beckenbauer's legacy isn't just what he won, it's how he played. And why, when he died 2 years ago, an entire nation stopped. This is the story of Der Kaiser, the man who made defense beautiful. Why Der Kaiser, the nickname that became his identity? Let's start with the name, because Der Kaiser, the emperor, wasn't given to him by fans. It was given to him by opponents. In the 1960s and 70s, German football was brutal. Defenders were destroyers, hard tackles, physical intimidation. The pitch was a battlefield, and then there was Franz Beckenbauer. He didn't run. He glided. He didn't tackle. He intercepted. He didn't scream at teammates. He gestured calmly, elegantly, like a conductor directing an orchestra. There's a famous photo of Beckenbauer from the 1974 World Cup. He's walking across the pitch, head up, chest out, ball at his feet, and 3 Dutch players are chasing him, but they can't catch him. Why? Because Beckenbauer didn't rush. He controlled. Before Beckenbauer, defenders had one job: stop the striker. But Beckenbauer saw something different. He thought, what if I don't just stop attacks? What if I start them? So he created the Libero position, the free man. Here's how it worked. Traditional defense, before Beckenbauer. Back 4 stays in a line, defenders mark strikers man to man. If you have the ball, you clear it forward. Beckenbauer's Libero plays behind the defensive line, sweeper. No specific man marking duty, hence free. When he wins the ball, he dribbles into midfield, becomes the first attacker. This was revolutionary. Because Beckenbauer turned defense into a launching pad. Imagine You're an opposing striker. You beat the first defender. But now Beckenbauer is there, calm, composed, reading your move. He intercepts. And instead of booting the ball upfield, he carries it. He glides past your midfielder, finds a pass. And suddenly, his team is attacking. You didn't just lose the ball, you lost control of the game. But Der Kaiser wasn't just about football, it was about post-war Germany. Germany in the 1960s and 70s was still rebuilding, still healing from World War II, and Franz Beckenbauer, elegant, confident, unstoppable, became the symbol of a new Germany. Not aggressive, not militaristic, but beautiful, proud, victorious. He was the face of a nation that wanted the world to see it differently. Before we continue, I need your answer. Have you ever seen a defender who was more elegant than Franz Beckenbauer? Drop a name in the comments, because I want to know if anyone comes close. The numbers that define greatness. Let's talk about what Franz Beckenbauer won. Because his trophy cabinet isn't just impressive, it's absurd. Franz Beckenbauer is one of only 3 men in football history to win the World Cup as both a player and a manager. The other 2? Mario Zagallo, Brazil, player 1958, manager 1970. Didier Deschamps, France, player 1998, manager 2018. But here's what makes Beckenbauer's different, 1974. World Cup, player, captain. Beckenbauer captained West Germany to victory on home soil in Munich. Beat Johan Cruyff's Netherlands 2-1 in the final. Became the first captain to lift the modern World Cup trophy. The current design was introduced in 1974, 1990. World Cup. Manager. Led West Germany to victory again, beat Diego Maradona's Argentina 1-0, became world champion 16 years after winning as a player. Think about that. He won the World Cup in 2 different roles, as the best player on the pitch, and as the best tactician on the sideline. Now let's talk about the award that proves Beckenbauer was different. Beckenbauer won the Ballon d'Or twice, 1972-1976. Do you understand how insane this is? Defenders never win the Ballon d'Or. Since 1956, only 2 pure defenders have won it. Franz Beckenbauer, 1972-1976, Fabio Cannavaro, 2006. That's it in 70 years. Why? Because the Ballon d'Or rewards goals, attacking, flair, and Beckenbauer, he won it as a defender twice. The club dominance, Bayern Munich, 1964-1977, 427 appearances, 79 goals as a defender. There were 4 Bundesliga titles, 4 German Cups, 3 consecutive European Cups, 1974, 1975, 1976. Let me repeat that. 79 goals as a defender. To put that in perspective, Sergio Ramos, career, 133 goals in 956 games. Franz Beckenbauer, Bayern, 79 goals in 427 games. Beckenbauer scored at nearly the same rate as Sergio Ramos. One of the most attacking defenders in modern history. Won the Bundesliga in 1982, his final season. Beckenbauer captained West Germany to the 1972 European Championship, beating the USSR 3-0 in the final. That tournament? Germany didn't lose a single match. They dominated, and Beckenbauer was the orchestrator. But here's the thing, all these trophies, all these stats, they don't capture what made Beckenbauer special, because Beckenbauer didn't win through power. He won through elegance, through intelligence, through making the game look easy when everyone else was struggling. And to understand that, we need to talk about the 2 battles that defined him. Here's my question for you. Who's the greatest defender in football history? Beckenbauer, Maldini, Baresi, or someone else? Drop your pick in the comments, let's settle this. June 17th, 1970. Azteca Stadium, Mexico City. World Cup semi-final. West Germany versus Italy. This is the match that defines Franz Beckenbauer's toughness. Not his elegance, not his vision, his will. The 1970 World Cup is legendary. Pelé's Brazil, Bobby Moore's England. And this semi-final, Germany versus Italy, would become known as the game of the century. It's chaos, goals flying in, both teams exhausted. The heat in Mexico City is brutal. 68th minute, Franz Beckenbauer goes up for a header. An Italian player collides with him. Beckenbauer lands awkwardly. He dislocates his shoulder. The medical staff run onto the pitch. They examine him, and they tell him, "You need to come off, now." But here's the problem. West Germany have already used all 3 substitutions. If Beckenbauer leaves the pitch, Germany play with 10 men. In a World Cup semi-final, in extra time. Beckenbauer looks at the physios, and he says, "Strap it." They wrap his arm in a sling, literally tie it to his chest, and Beckenbauer walks back onto the pitch. There's a photo from this match that every German knows. Beckenbauer, arm in a sling, sprinting down the wing, chasing an Italian attacker. One arm, exhausted, in agony, and he plays the entire rest of the match. Italy win 4-3 after extra time. Germany are eliminated. But the image of Beckenbauer, playing with a dislocated shoulder, refusing to quit, becomes legendary. This is what separates legends from greats. Greats are talented, legends are unstoppable. In Beckenbauer, he was willing to break his body before he'd break his will. 4 years later, Beckenbauer gets his chance for revenge. July 7th, 1974, Olympiastadion, Munich, World Cup final, West Germany versus Netherlands. The world is in love with the Netherlands, Johan Cruyff. Total football, beautiful, fluid, revolutionary. The Netherlands are the favorites. Everyone expects them to win, everyone except Franz Beckenbauer. First minute, Netherlands win a penalty. Johan Neeskens scores. 1-0 Netherlands. The Dutch are dominating, passing circles around Germany. Cruyff is untouchable. And then Beckenbauer makes a decision. He man-marks Johan Cruyff out of the game. Every time Cruyff touches the ball, Beckenbauer is there. Not tackling, not fouling, just existing in Cruyff's space, cutting off passing lanes, forcing him wide. Cruyff, the best player in the world, becomes invisible. 25th minute, Paul Breitner penalty, 1-1, 43rd minute, Gerd Müller goal, 2-1 Germany. Final score 2-1, West Germany wins the World Cup, and Franz Beckenbauer, playing in his home city of Munich, becomes the first captain to lift the modern World Cup trophy. The Dutch invented total football. But Beckenbauer, he stopped poetry with pragmatism and became king. The second crown, Beckenbauer the manager. Most players retire and fade away. Some become coaches. A few become legends in both roles. Franz Beckenbauer is one of the few. After retiring as a player in 1983, Beckenbauer took over the West German national team in 1984. The team was struggling, no identity, no confidence. And Beckenbauer, who had never coached professionally before, walked in and said, "I know how to win, follow me." 1986, World Cup, Mexico, Beckenbauer's first tournament as manager. West Germany reached the final. They faced Diego Maradona's Argentina, the same Argentina where Maradona had just produced the hand of God and the goal of the century against England. Final score, 3-2 Argentina. Germany lose. But Beckenbauer has taken a struggling team to a World Cup final in his first tournament as manager. 1990, World Cup, Italy. 4 years later, Beckenbauer's Germany return. And this time, they face Maradona again in the final. July 8th, 1990. Stadio Olimpico, Rome. West Germany, 1-0 Argentina. Andreas Bremer scores a penalty in the 85th minute. Germany hold on. And Franz Beckenbauer becomes a world champion again. 1974. Beckenbauer the player beats Total Football 1990. Beckenbauer the manager beats Maradona. But here's the part that's tragic. After 1990, Beckenbauer's managerial career fades. He becomes a FIFA ambassador, an administrator, a politician in football. And in 2015, controversy. Allegations of corruption in Germany's successful bid to host the 2006 World Cup. Beckenbauer denies involvement, but the accusations stain his final years. January 7th, 2024, Salzburg, Austria. Franz Beckenbauer dies at age 78. The cause of death is not publicly disclosed, but reports suggest he'd been ill for some time. Within hours, Bayern Munich lights the Allianz Arena in memorial red. The German national team wears black armbands. Thousands gather at his statue outside Bayern's stadium. And Germany mourns its king. Final question. If Franz Beckenbauer played today, would he be the best defender in the world? Or has the game changed too much? Drop today's best or game has changed in the comments. I'm reading every answer. The throne that will never be filled. 2 years ago today, Franz Beckenbauer died. And the throne of German football? it didn't just go empty, it disappeared. Because you can't replace an emperor, you can only remember him. Let's summarize who Franz Beckenbauer was by the numbers. Playing career, 582 club appearances, 427 for Bayern Munich, 79 goals as a defender, 103 caps for West Germany, 14 goals, 1974, World Cup winner, captain, 1972, European Championship winner, captain, 2 Ballon d'Ors. 3 European Cup, 1974, 1975, 1976, 5 Bundesliga titles, managerial career, 1990, World Cup winner, manager, 1986, World Cup finalist, manager. The legacy: invented the Libero position. First captain to lift the modern World Cup trophy. One of only 3 men to win the World Cup as player and manager. But numbers don't tell the full story, because Beckenbauer's legacy isn't just trophies, it's how he played. He made defense beautiful, he turned stopping into starting. He showed the world that you don't have to destroy to win. And when he died 2 years ago, every defender who builds attacks from the back, every Virgil van Dijk, every Rudiger, every John Stones, lost the man who invented their role. On January 7th, 2024, the throne went empty, and it will never be filled again. Because there was only one Kaiser, and kings live forever. Today marks 2 years since Franz Beckenbauer died, and Germany still mourns. But this isn't a story about loss, it's a story about legacy, a man who invented a position, who won the World Cup twice in different roles, who played with a dislocated shoulder because quitting wasn't an option, a man who turned defense into art. Before you go, I need 3 things from you. Subscribe to Cyberboot right now. We honor the legends who built football, the innovators who are forgotten by modern fans, but who deserve to be remembered. This is their home. Hit that like button if you believe Franz Beckenbauer is the greatest defender in football history. Your engagement tells YouTube that legends matter. Get into the comments and answer the 3 questions I asked. Have you seen a more elegant defender than Beckenbauer? Drop a name. Who's the GOAT defender? Beckenbauer, Maldini, Baresi, or someone else? Would Beckenbauer be the best defender today, or has the game changed? Drop your answers now. This community has the most thoughtful football debates on YouTube. January 7th, 2024. Der Kaiser passed away, but his throne, it doesn't sit empty, it's gone. Because no one will ever rule the way he did. At the Allianz Arena, there's a statue, bronze, Beckenbauer mid-stride. Head up, chest out, ball at his feet. And every January 7th, Bayern fans cover it with scarves and flowers, and they remember the Emperor, the Libero, the King. Rest in peace, Franz Beckenbauer. Germany will never forget its Kaiser. Subscribe to Cyberboot, where legends live forever.